let's get some regional context now. The conflict in Syria has long sparked fears of a regional war, and it now seems to be stirring up old tensions within Lebanon. Now, of course, Lebanon fought a multifaceted civil war for 15 years between 1975 and 1990. And as you heard, sectarian divisions still run deep, especially between Sunni and Shia communities. The Sunni community tends to support the Syrian rebels, while the Shia militant group Hezbollah has long been a staunch ally of the al-Assad regime. And those divisions are mirrored in neighboring countries. Take a look at this. Here you can see the countries in yellow who support the opposition Syrian National Council. Most notably, of course, you've got Turkey, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and Jordan. The countries in orange, Iraq and Iran in particular, support the al-Assad regime. Now, Iran is a majority Shia nation and also backs Hezbollah. And in recent months, thousands of Hezbollah fighters funded by Iran have crossed into Syria and helped government loyalists win back major rebel strongholds, such as right here, as you can see on that border there, the city of Qusayr. Now, emboldened by recent battlefield gains, a seemingly more secure Mr. al-Assad reshuffled his cabinet this Tuesday. He dropped all 16 members at the top of his ruling Ba'ath Party to make way for new blood. Well, let's get more on this from Michael Weiss. He is in New York, and he is a columnist for Now Lebanon. Michael, what is the significance, do you think, of this cabinet reshuffle we've seen? Is al-Assad surrounding himself with stronger allies?
Yeah, I mean, I think, look, it's important to understand that there are really only a handful of figures in the Assad regime who control Syria, or I should say control the security sector and indeed the repression against the uprising. So shuffling cabinet members, appointing new Baathists to new positions, these things are more, I think, designed for cosmetic effect, to rally the base. These officials very seldom have any influential say in what's going on inside the country. The most important man, I would argue, second to Bashar al-Assad himself, is Ali Mamluk. He is effectively in control of Syria's security services. He is one of the key point persons on overseeing the crackdown on the armed uprising. So, but there is no question that Assad feels very emboldened. He feels like he has the wing, behind his sails in terms of military strategy and victories on the ground. Although I would argue a lot of this newfound feeling or newfound confidence is overstated. There really is no way that the Syrian regime can effectively destroy this uprising or this armed rebellion. There were reports after Qusayr, actually even before Qusayr had fallen to the regime, that Hezbollah and not just the Syrian army, but the sectarian Alawite Shia militias that are being built for Assad by Iran had already infiltrated key pockets of Aleppo. Now, Aleppo is probably the opposition's most strategically vital province that they more or less control. It looks like the regime actually diverted too many resources into Aleppo, which is why there is still fighting going on in Homs, and is why, this so-called mother of all battles to retake Aleppo, which was rumored to have started or would have begun to start 2 weeks ago, hasn't yet happened. So what you see, in effect, is a very prolonged stalemate where neither side can effectively win the battle for Syria.
As you say, a prolonged stalemate. So is there any possibility at the moment of a political solution? I mean, Russia and the U.S. were supposed to be pushing those talks forward, but that doesn't seem to be going anywhere.
No, I mean, look, the Russian position, Russia today announced that, or they've actually submitted evidence suggesting that it was rebels and not the regime that had used sarin gas in Aleppo, using something called a Bashar 3 missile. Now, it took me a while to actually figure out what the hell a Bashar 3 missile is, but let me tell you that this missile is not capable of using or outfitting itself with chemical warheads. So Russia is still playing the game that these are terrorists, and the West ought to be defending Damascus at all costs because, and this tracks very well with Bashar al-Assad's propaganda line himself, this is part of the global war on terrorism. There is no distinction between secular groups in the Syrian opposition, between the Syrian activists and the nonviolent, the peaceful protesters who continue day in and day out to turn out and protest the regime, and, say, al-Qaeda or Salafi jihadi groups. So Russia's line is, let's give the regime enough time to effectively crush the rebellion. But I think, again, this is a fool's errand because I don't think the regime can do that. A stalemate that has now a very high cost in lives. Well, thank you very much, Michael Weiss.
columnist for Now Lebanon.